game day ritual. Run the ball like Mitchell, we can be like Reynolds and Skipple. Give it to Johnston and he'll get triple. Pass it to Cleary, you know he'll run the pitch. Score points like Jabojevic, I'm game day fit, no need to switch. Cooking up like Cookie Man's in the kitchen. Who's that on the wing? It's Sivo. Score, try and do the Guffrino. Don't get too rowdy or too keen or you'll end up like Hasentino. Get a 40-20 like BCE. Run the ball like hectic cheese. Support runner, that's Pappenhausen, but I still got Teddy at the SCG.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Final Siren podcast. Very lucky today to have two amazing guests on the stream, EntertainHouse and ProEnzo Vidz. We'll go to you first, Hayden, or EntertainHouse. How are you doing today?
Yeah, mate, it's game day. Looking forward to it. It's my first Parramatta game day back in Australia too. Obviously, as you can see, not there tonight, but and I wish I went down to the game. I really did, but I haven't been here for the first 2 weeks over in America, fresh off the LA trip, and looking forward to hopefully getting win number 1 of the season.
Definitely. I'm happy. I'm sure you'd be very happy if your team got up tonight, but ProEnzo, not so much. You wouldn't be so happy if Parramatta got up. That's because your Manly boys are playing them. How are you doing?
Yeah, look, firstly, thank you for inviting me on the podcast. Obviously, I've been a big supporter of how it's been going, so yeah, do appreciate that. But, I'm going well. Obviously, it's a big game, 2 old rivals going at it. So, I'm looking forward to tonight.
Awesome to hear. And last but not least, Faraz, obviously, not exactly a guest on the podcast, a member of the podcast. Faraz, how you doing today, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. Just busy with a few things. But, the footy's back. It's already been a great season so far. Can't wait for round 3. This is going to be an interesting match.
Before we get into talking about tonight's game, though, I just want to quickly talk about the start of the season. Have you boys seen a closer start to the season over the NRL history, or is this probably the closest so far? ProEnzo, we'll go to you first.
Oh, yeah. Well, after round 1 and seeing how everything aligned after that, that was, that did prove that to me that everything looks very close and narrow. So I've got to say how the game's sort of gone so far, then, yeah, I agree. I think it is.
Definitely. EntertainHouse, what about you?
Yeah, there's been some very close margins to start the year. I think it compares to not last season, but the last season before that in the NFL. There was some very weird scores, weird upsets. It looks like we're going to be seeing that type of thing. And obviously, in that sense, you had the Cincinnati Bengals go on a bit of a run who no one expected. So there could be an NRL team, like your Brisbane Broncos, that could go on a bit of a run to go perhaps all the way, because the door is open and the odds prove that right now.
Yeah, definitely. So far for me, the season has been it's the teams in this season. I can't pick on who's going to make the 8. That's how close it will be for me. I think probably from 6 to 14 will be decided by probably 4 or 6 premiership points in the end. It's going to be quite close. But Faraz, what about you? It's been a close start.
Yeah, so looking by so far, there's been a lot of upsets and unexpected results. The average margin of winning a game is 8 points, so it's already been a close start. Look, generally, every week I'm looking at these matchups. Like this week, I can't pick a winner, and I'll be like, I'm confident Parramatta can get the job tonight. Bulldogs are a team that's on the up. Brisbane are always there, up and about. West Tigers, they struggled, but who knows, they can make a mark on this competition. And a few teams like the Storm, they've hit injury toll. Then you've got the Panthers, who are simply lost without Appy, even though they got the victory last week. So it's really hard to judge what team could come up or who could drop down. So, look, keen to see how the season goes. A lot of teams up for it.
Yeah, definitely. Very well explained there. We'll go to a random stat to start off. Mitchell Moses, I was very surprised by this, has never won at 4 Pines Park. He's played 4 games there in his career, 0-4, and credit to Clarkie's Rugby League column for that. There's another stat as well. I believe Brad Parker has won his milestone game so far, so his debut game and his 50th game, I believe. Is it his 100th tonight?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll go to EntertainHouse first this time. What's your thoughts on these stats? Are you a bit worried about it?
Yeah, I guess we're hitting the panic button early. It is only 2 rounds in, but the structure of attack looks pretty poor. The crash over plays that Parramatta are doing to start the season makes it seem like this stat will continue to be 0-5, which is also what a lot of people think will be our stat line going into the coming weeks with this tough draw. And let me just say, as hard as the draw is, the worst part about it is the fact that all the teams that we have been playing, including the Manly Seagulls tonight, are coming off the bye.
Right.
It feels like an absolute proper stitch-up. If you didn't know, we play Manly, we play Penrith, and we play the Roosters, all coming off their bye week. So, another stat for you, not a huge one, but Parramatta. So the line in Sportsbet is +2.5, which basically means the Eels to keep within 2. Parramatta have covered the line against Manly in all 5 of their last night games against Seagulls. So that means they're either going to lose by 2 or win the match outright. There's a little stat for you there that you may not know.
That's an awesome stat. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I did not know that. Now, ProEnzo, what about you? I'll keep that stat back on the screen. Does this make you more confident, or are you not exactly riding off the Eels yet?
Yeah, well, actually, it's the first time I've ever heard about that stat. So that's interesting about Mitchell Moses. So, obviously it'd be nice to see it continue, but yeah, who knows? It's going to go either way in the game anyway. So, no, that's an interesting stat there. With Parker, yeah, that's a good stat as well. Like, I've only just known that today. So, very interesting.
Awesome. I watched the jersey presentation of Brad Parker for his 100th game a bit earlier today. It was quite an emotional watch for me, who's someone who doesn't even go for Manly, but it was really good to see. He looks like he loves the club and loves being there. Faraz, what about you? I'll put the stat, once again back up on the screen. Moses never winning at 4 points.
Yeah, I would have never picked out that stat. First, it was the milestone stat I told you about last week, Noah, and now this. So, look, luck's not on his side, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It's only been 4 times, so who knows? Maybe tonight he can ride his luck. But yeah, it's a bit of an intimidating stat, as we saw with the milestone stat last week. But I don't think it'll bother him too much, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mitchell Moses, he's a real competitor. The stat's not going to. I mean, last week, like you said, it was the same stat of he's never won in a milestone game, and he was probably the best Eels player last week. That might have been. I didn't really get to watch too much of the game, so I can't say too much on it. But I mean, his stats definitely said he was. But we'll move on to tips, margin, and anytime try scorer. Then we've got some same game multis. But we'll start off simple first. Tips, margin, anytime try scorer. We'll go to ProEnzo first.
Yeah, so my tip is Manly to win. I think they'll get the win here at bookie. Margin 1-12, but if I'm being specific, maybe 6 points. I'm not expecting it to blow out, in any case, for both sides anyway. And anytime try scorer, I think in his 100th, he'll find the line somehow, and I think Brad Parker, I'm pretty confident, will score.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. EntertainHouse, what about you?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to tip the boys tonight. I did tip Cronulla last week. I tipped Parramatta against the Storm 2 weeks ago, so I'm not biased. I think we're going to be fired up. I think we're pretty desperate. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's funny. I've thought this all week, and I'm obviously sitting in 40-degree heat today. So there's going to be hot conditions there tonight at bookie, which could make an impact on low scoring. But I'm going to go with the scoreline of 24 points to 20. Parramatta have obviously lost their first 2 games by 4, so why not win a game by 4? And anytime try scorer that I don't have in the multi, you'll see later, but someone I want to touch on, Will Penasini. Will Penasini has scored a try in 6 of Parramatta's last 8 matches, which is just incredible. I think he's about $2.65 to score a try at any time. But yeah, I'm going to tip Parramatta to win 24-20, but I do think Turbo against the Eels, he'll be in for a big game. So Turbo will probably get 2 try assists as well.
Awesome. Love that. And what Will Penasini, he's developing into such a great young centre. Defensively, he's great. Attacking-wise, he's really getting there. He's getting into his groove. Brilliant player for the future. Faraz, what about you?
I've been on Manly all week, but I'm actually going to change it. I'm going to go Parramatta 1-12. I just feel this is where Parramatta play their best footy. Everyone writes them off. Everyone, if you go on the tipping, everyone's tipping Manly. On the NRL tipping app, Manly at 64%. I'm calling that bizarre. I just feel Parramatta will be fired up. And what better way? I think this is their biggest rivals other than the Bulldogs. I think this is the perfect chance for them to win. Manly are off the bye. it could go horribly wrong for them because they haven't played, and Eels are fired up with that momentum to get a win. I can't see the Eels going 0-3. I think they'll jag a win here. And it wouldn't surprise me if they go on a 3-game win streak. That's just the Eels for you. So I'm going to go the Eels by 4. I'm going to go high scoring, 26-22. And I reckon Mitchell Moses gets a try. He looks dangerous.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll regret it with Faraz. You'll regret it.
I hope Manly win, bro.
I've sort of been thinking about it most of the week as well for myself. It's a bit tough, but I'm gonna stick with my original pick, and that's Manly. I think they'll get over for Brad Parker's 100th game. I don't think he'll lose. Don't think that streak will break just yet. I'm gonna go Manly 1-12, probably by Manly by 8. I think is a pretty safe bet. And I'm gonna go anytime try scorer. I'll go with someone who's not on my multi. I might go Clint Gutherson for the Eels to actually get one. But we'll move to the first same game multi. EntertainHouse, all yours, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so Mike Acevo, obviously a try-scoring specialist, so backing him in there. I think he's $1.90 to score at any time, which isn't a bad price. You normally see wingers around that $1.60, $1.70 mark. Chucked him in there. Ruben Garrick, I mentioned earlier. I think I might have said it off camera. I could be wrong on this stat, but I'd say Ruben Garrick, from the games I've been to at least, has about 8 tries in his last 6 games against Parramatta. He definitely has at least 4 in his last 6, something like that. So Ruben Garrick's in there for sure, playing in a great position, starting the season strong. And then going a bit of a roughie here, obviously I mentioned Will Penasini, but my pick tonight is going to be Matt Dury. Matt Dury is playing off the right edge. I think Moses, short ball to that right edge. We saw that Madison, Papali'i kind of play throughout 2022. So I think we'll see one of those plays, and Manly won't be able to get over, stop Matt Dury running at, I think he'll be running at Kohler, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that might be true. I'm not too familiar with the Manly team. ProEnzo, you might be able to tell us. First, we'll go to your multi. Do you know which side Matt Dury? Well, Matt Dury's obviously right side. Do you know who he'll be coming up against? Who's on the Manly left side? Do you know?
That I believe will be. That's Parker. I'm pretty sure it's Parker.
Milestone man. But yeah,
so,
talk us through your same game multi.
Yeah. So look, obviously, I believe Manly 1-12 is the way to go for me. For first try scorer, I'd like EntertainHouse set off camera. There's a really good record that Garrick has for scoring a habit of tries against Parramatta. So I think maybe we've just like Tom on that in the team as well. He usually is good at setting tries out for the outside men. So I'd say Garrick for first try is a safe bet. Then obviously Parker and the other anytime try scorer Olakau'atu. I think them two, they'll find the line at rookie. Like I'm pretty confident that Parker in his 100th game will, get over somehow. Whether that's through like a short ball by Schuster potentially, we'll see. And as for Olakau'atu, him and DCE have always had that pretty good combination down the right hand side. So I'm pretty sure, and hopefully they do get in.
Beautifully explained.
So with Schuster coming back, does that mean Cooper John's drop is out of the side?
Yeah, he's gone to 18th man.
All right. It was fantastic for you boys in the opening season match.
He did great in the trials. He was quite good in round 1, obviously last week.
Massive in trials. I was at that game. The trial against Sydney Roosters.
The Roosters?
Massive.
All right.
It shocked me, yeah.
He looked great. So possibly a bit stiff to be left out of the Manly side. But I mean, they've promised they'll give Schuster a go at 6. But before we move on to my same game multi, I want to talk about that return, $226. I'm surprised it's that high. With the bets you put in there, I would have thought it would be returning maybe 150 total. I reckon that's a bit stiff there. To Manly 1-12, I think Garrick first try score is bound to happen. But great returns. And as I always say, we're not encouraging you to gamble responsibly. This is just what we would be doing if we were to put on same game multis. But actually, before I do mine, I'll do Lockie's. He's not here today, but he has sent me one through. He's called it a safe bet. Manly head-to-head. Garrick anytime. Olakau'atu anytime. And Sivo anytime for $12 return. I'm actually surprised that the return for this one is lower than EntertainHouse's. I thought yours was more safe, honestly.
Yeah, pretty close odds, 15 to 12 as well. I think that one there is probably a little bit more safe, but I guess the head-to-head factor should push it out a little bit more. But Manly have been backed into about $1.60.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I feel like Para are too much heavy outsiders here. I think Manly will win.
I think I've mentioned off camera, but I'll let the viewers know that last time this occasion happened where Parramatta went to Brookvale, the obviously game day or game week before it, the Parramatta Eels were a $2 price, Manly Seagulls $1.80. We saw a similar thing Sunday, Monday. And then as the team list started to come out, we saw a $2.15 for the Eels, $1.70 for Manly. Now we're at $1.65 to $2.25. Now, these are the exact same odds as the game where Parramatta defeated Manly last year. So a little bit of an omen there for the Hello Sport boys.
Another great stat there. Spitting out stats beautifully. But for myself, I've gone with, it's quite a bold one. Manly 1 to 12. Brad Parker 2+ tries, and that's mainly just because milestone man. I think he'll get over more than once. And Olaka Watu, I feel like he's a pretty safe bet for tonight. I see a lot of us have had him in the multi at $1.41 return. It's a pretty good return there. Gamble responsibly, like I said before. But Faraz, you didn't have a multi. Is there anything you wanted to talk about though? Like if you were to put a bet on it or something like that?
Well, yeah, I put up the interesting stat that every time Tommy Turbo has scored a try against Parramatta, they've gone on to win the match. So I like those odds. I think Turbo can cross over tonight. I think he does score a lot of tries against the Eels. I'm not sure about that, but I think Garrick a double is a safe bet as well.
Yeah, and amazing. Absolutely awesome. Now, I haven't got it up on the screen, but if you guys could have a key matchup for tonight, two players up against each other, preferably in the same positions, who would you say is your key matchup? Well, first off, actually, Faraz, we'll go to you first this time. Who would your key matchup there?
I'll go the fullbacks. I'll go Gutho versus Turbo. Both will be key and instrumental in helping their halves get around the ruck and try to get a lot of points at the back. And defensively, I think they'll try to do a job there. I think if they can get the best out of their respective halves, I think any team is capable of winning 13+, honestly, as well.
Awesome. What about you, EntertainHouse?
I had to have a think about this one. I almost went Josh Schuster and Dylan Brown because obviously Josh Schuster's coming back into the side under the Cooper Johns forced out, whereas Dylan Brown's kind of under pressure. He started the season quite poorly, but I think there's a bigger battle tonight that people aren't going to mention too much. So I'm going to go the battle of the number 10s. I'm going to go Jake Trebojevic and Junior Paulo. Obviously, both New South Wales Blues players. They've both had fantastic start to the seasons. Obviously, one's coming off a win. The other's 2 losses, but still great performances in both of those games. They need to perform as leaders of the pack. They are the leaders of the pack for both of their sides. So who's going to come out more dominant? And obviously, Jake's tackle efficiency to start the season has been wonderful.
He's a great player, Jake. I mean, you can't not love him as a player. ProEnzo, what about you? Who's your key matchup for tonight?
A bit of a different one, like a bit left field, but I'm going to say the battle of the number 9s, the hookers. I reckon Josh Hodgson and Croker. I think it's a good battle because I think both of them do have a bit of a habit from kicking from dummy half pretty early in the game. So if one of them can find a 40-20, then that's good for them, I guess. Both of them are great defenders as well in the middle. Got a good workload in defence. And I think both of them are going to be important in tonight's game for both sides.
Well, very well explained. I'm going to go one that hasn't been spoken about yet as well. Daly Cherry Evans versus Mitch Moses. Obviously, I feel like tonight it won't be so much like as much as I say it's a big matchup. I feel like it'll be more so one in the forward packs. I think tonight. I feel like I don't know. I think whoever's forwards play through the conditions better. It's very humid. I'm guessing. It's well, at least in Queensland it has been. In New South Wales when I last checked, it was. I feel like the forward pack wins the game tonight, but I do see kicking playing a big factor in this. Moses, he's got a big boot on him. Daly Cherry Evans, very accurate kicker. So I feel like, tonight it's one on the forwards, but I feel like the key matchup could be the sevens. And that should just about do us.
Oh, I've got a question for Hayden as well.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the Ryan Madison incident? Do you think he would have made a difference if he was playing? Are you left fuming at his decision?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because obviously if he was playing, he'd probably have that position, and we don't know where Jermaine Hopgood would be. Look, he probably would be coming off the bench, but with some of the decisions that Brad Arthur has made with the bench has been terrible. So as much as I'd love to have Matto on the field and know that he'll be back in the side, in the first grade side, I think it's actually been a bit of a blessing because you've seen how good Jermaine Hopgood's been in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Brad said basically the fine would come out of your own pocket. So he took the suspension, took the easy road. But I feel like Ryan Madison played his best footy, especially at Penrith last year, coming off the bench. So when he does come back, he'll probably find himself maybe in jersey number 15. But yeah, I don't think you can force Hopgood out of the side, and I think Madison is a better lock than back rower.
Yeah, definitely. I was just about to ask that, so you don't see him going back to back row, and it's probably a fair assumption. I don't think he definitely did better at lock last year while he was playing there. He seemed to find a home there, but I mean, Hopgood. We'll quickly touch on this before I end off as well. Jermaine Hopgood. I think I'm not sure if I can pull up the stats from the 2 games, but it is humongous. The amount of tackles he gets through run meters as well. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I can tell you because I watched last week's game. What happened? I actually was flying back from America and I paid money to watch the game. I only got to watch 17 minutes, so then I had to turn off all my notifications to watch the full game. But I can tell you that Jermaine Hopgood actually had 2 try assists last week, and for a lock to do that, especially to Reed and Campbell-Gillard that early on in the match as well. You mentioned the tackles and things, but not only in defence, he's providing in attack. And look, I don't want to be critical, but he's actually taking off, in a good sense, the workload that Josh Hodgson needs to do. Josh Hodgson, for mine, I question the signing, and I'm really starting to question it now. I don't think he's an 80-minute player, so he probably needs someone on the bench to come on for him. But I think Hopgood is kind of taking off that pressure to say, look, I can provide that attack and play that type of role, whether it be out of dummy half, quick lock kind of ability. He's definitely like a young Cameron Murray right now.
Well, yeah, definitely. The last game he played against the Sharks, he had 60 tackles with 1 missed. And I believe against the Storm, I'll quickly double check. Actually, no, sorry. Yeah, against the Storm, he had 57 tackles. He did miss 7, but again, that went to Golden Point. That was there. It's tough conditions. I mean, you can't really do too much about it. But he's been a great pickup for Parramatta. He'll be, in my opinion, spoiler alert, signing of the year for me, buy of the year. I'm not too sure. Do you know if he's eligible for Rookie of the Year?
I don't believe so. Because I think he's played 8 games in the NRL, and you've got to play 6, haven't you? Or 6 or less, I think.
Yeah, that's a bit unlucky because if he was eligible, I reckon he'd be pretty much a lock for Rookie of the Year at the moment. But does anyone have anything else to touch on? If not, we'll end it off. Faraz?
Yeah, just back into Hayden's point. I think about Josh Hodgson. I think a lot of people were critical of Mitchell Moses' kicking game in the first game. I actually don't think he was quite that bad, but you can see that really missing Marnie's service a lot. He, for me, is just a better attacking player. And like you said, Marnie can play a full 80 minutes. Hodgson doesn't have the same strike and attack. Sure, maybe he's a reliable defense, but he just holds off Moses' best kicking game abilities. I just don't think they've been used to that. I think it might cost him a top 4 spot. He hasn't played in a long time. He's had a lot of injuries in the past, so it's going to take some time. But for me, Dylan Brown's under a lot of pressure. Then you've got Hodgson, who he's a really reliable off attack. So Moses' best game is well put behind him. So that puts a lot of pressure on someone like Moses to just go beyond his game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Josh Hodgson last game, he had 0 run meters, 0 post contact meters, 0 pretty much everything in attack. Defensively was the only thing he did. And to be fair, he does defend well, and I think everyone knows that Hodgson defends well. But,
It sounds like a 2020 Lachlan Croker, doesn't it, ProEnzo Vidz?
Oh, well, very close, very close. I'll tell you that.
But hopefully he can find the form he was in when he was at the Raiders, 2019, 2020. He was, in those years, probably the best hooker in the game at that time. Well, I mean, I know Cameron Smith was still in the game, but Hodgson was probably in better form at that time. But
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I'm hoping he can really find that form.
Do you reckon Eels are still a premiership chance? Is their window closed, or do you still think they could be a threat? They still got a stacked team on paper, just about that number 9 role. They've got the forward pack, they've got the spine. Just that number 9 role just worries me a lot with Hawkinson. Can he take to the next level?
I'll let you go first.
I personally would say no, but then again, you go back to, this is pretty much very similar, besides Papali'i, to the 2021 season where Marnie went down with injury, and Ray Stone, who, look, he wasn't known for playing hooker, he was known for playing off the bench. So yeah, I'd say there is a chance. I'd say that we can definitely beat anyone on our day, and we'll probably prove that tonight. I don't think it'll happen. I personally am in a belief that I had us finishing 7th. I could see us finishing 10th. I will tell you right now, I don't see Parramatta finishing lower than 10th. I think they've got too much quality on paper. But for us, I wouldn't say that the window is completely closed based on, as you said, that player retention. And Noah mentioned it earlier, Will Penasini. The best part about this off-season is building around Dylan Brown and Will Penasini for the future, you know?
Combining that edge as well. Yeah, Brown's still fairly young as well. He's talented. That's the first batting I've seen in a while from him. And when you get better.
Yeah. He backed up I believe 2021. I think he only had like 1 or 2 try assists or something, and it was being pointed out a lot. But last season, he backed up what everyone was saying was a disappointing season with a really great season. Last season, in my opinion, he was the second best 5'8" in the game, just behind Cameron Munster. And if you have him ahead of Munster, I wouldn't argue with it. Honestly, last season.
Just on an optimistic note, do you still like? I know that they came up short against a side without Nico Hines, but do you think it's still positive that Parramatta still scored 26 points against the Sharks? Or am I being too optimistic here?
I think... Nah, I wouldn't take much out of it. I think the defense of both sides... I think the Sharks are a very different team without Hines. I think they would have blown us off the park with Hines playing. So, and obviously you saw limited attack, limited points against the Melbourne Storm, who were a little bit depleted as well. So, no, I wouldn't say that I'm impressed by the amount of points scored just yet.
Absolutely awesome. ProEnzo, we'll quickly go to you. You haven't had a touch on it yet. Do you see Parramatta still as a premiership threat? And do you think your boys in Manly can be a premiership threat this year?
With Parramatta, yeah, you can't write them off, I guess. They do still have a lot of quality players in that team. Like their forward pack's obviously the biggest thing going for that club. Same with the players like Gutho, Moses, Brown. Like that's enough quality to still make them dangerous. But as for my boys, look, I hope so. In reality, I don't know, don't think so. But all I can do is hope. So, with how things are going so far and how things have transpired into this year compared to last year, it's a start. So all I can do is hope.
Exactly, and hope you will. I think I personally have Manly pushing for the 8 this year. Not too sure if they'll make it, but I mean, if you aim for top 8, chances are, if you play well enough, you'll definitely get there. You have Turbo, you have DC. Schuster could be a great 6, and Lachlan Croker is quite quickly becoming a better hooker by the day.
He's very underrated. Yeah, very
underrated. But I think, Faraz, do you have anything else? Do either of you have anything else?
No, I think Manly will probably fight for the top 8. I've got Parramatta. I actually have them in my top 4. Probably regretting it, but they'll still be a top 6 side for me at least.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Long way to go this season.
Yeah, it's a long way.
I mean, everyone is running Parramatta off. It's 2 rounds in of a 27-round season.
And let's be real, they lost to quality opposition as well.
Exactly. I mean, I know Melbourne didn't have their best troops on the park, but they had better troops than what they did against Bulldogs last week. And Sharks, I mean, even without Hines, they've still got a pretty quality team on paper. But that'll just about wrap us up. If you aren't already, make sure you go and follow the Instagram at the Final Siren Podcast. Make sure you go and follow EntertainHouse and ProEnzo Vidz and subscribe to their YouTube channels. I'll try and go back tonight and actually link it in the description of the YouTube video. But thank you so much to EntertainHouse and ProEnzo Vidz for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you again.
Absolutely awesome. And from us here at the Final Siren Podcast, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.